Well, welcome to the Story Geeks podcast. This is our weekly hangout show. On today's show, we're reacting to the final Fast and Furious 9 trailer, the second Loki trailer, which should be a trailer for that as well. I get new Loki shows coming out. And then we'll also be sharing our thoughts on the Falcon finale and our armchair story segment. We're asking Falcon and Soldier are right and which ones are wrong. My name is Jay Shear. I'm the author of The Weird Western Death of a Bounty Hunter, which is now on Amazon.com. And joining me today from Geeks team, Daryl Smith.
Hey.
You like how I said you sounded really aggressive and cool?
It was, yeah. I don't warrant that much excitement, but I appreciate the effort.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. It's good to have you back.
Thanks.
Daryl, we had you on the show like what, 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, not that long ago. I go away for a year and then I just come back constantly. What can I say?
Yeah, it's awesome. That's the best. And then let's see here. We all have a super cool guest, one of my favorite guests. He was available for this show, and I was super stoked to have him on. Michael Young is also here.
Hey,
how you doing, Michael?
How's it going?
I feel like when we have Michael on, we should actually have him do his intro because that's how cool
I know.
It is.
Can you give us like a Nerd Soul intro for this episode?
Yeah.
I don't want to steal your IP, but
it's like we can do. So the little guy is like, no, I don't want him to do it, but I'll do it. So NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Welcome to today's show. We are going to be talking about, that's right, Loki. Talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier. We're going to be talking about everything that you've ever thought to talk about because we've got enough time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. That's the best intro. But before we jump into those today, we do want to let you know that we do reserve spots for Patreon support and join us in these weekly hangouts. They never take us up on it, but we offer the spots to them who want to join us. So we would like you to support the show and join in when you can. For more info, visit thestorygeeks.com. And let's go ahead into today's topics. Say hi to a few people. First, not Venzo. It's not Venzo. I don't know, but it's not Venzo. He says that he is looking to us reacting to the Fast 9 trailer because it's crazy. I haven't seen it yet, so I can only imagine how crazy it is. And I always want to to Jim Baldwin and Mary Baldwin. And she says that it's like I'm the unique background. No here in this can be. If I get really, really choppy, Daryl's just gonna take it over because my speed is not fantastic. So just FYI, just listen to me. Enjoy the visuals of Daryl and Michael.
And we apologize.
And we apologize in advance.
There's nothing wrong with that. I actually do that a lot on my show. There's a Keith from Blurtish usually just calls in because the Wi-Fi isn't always, or the house is crazy. So there'll be like a secret voice on the video, and that's how he does it.
That's just how it's. What I'll do just to throw everyone off, just pause mid-sentence sometimes. Just like, are you like, wait, did we? Sorry, so what's going on? So you jump into these trailers, guys. You watch these, back to them. I'm gonna say that's
no.
a yes.
What happened?
That's a good sign. That's a good start. Yeah.
We're gonna try to react to these trailers. Now my connection might completely die on me, but we're gonna try to react to trailers. So I'm gonna go ahead, share my screen, and we're gonna react to these trailers together. You're gonna see my show notes here for a second too. Let's check this out, guys. Let's check out this official trailer. Oh, it's gonna play it in the. Hang on one second. Let's do this better than that.
It's about to get crazy.
It's about
because it's F9.
Really yeah.
Is this the worst way to watch a trailer possible?
Possibly. Oh yeah, and then my connection's too.
Oh no, it's dying.
It's not a fan of family. Let's see.
Oh, but that's Vin Diesel right there. Oh yeah.
We'll see if it. We'll see if it even. Let's try it. Let's try it.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
Oh, they're rebuilding the house. That's nice.
Yeah, that's always a good thing.
Fast and Furious without a barbecue. We know that.
That's the I Love Family look.
Yep. You know what I'm saying? That's always a good thing. It's like, hey, I don't have friends.
And by the way, I think the big thing is that like Vin Diesel does not hurt the halves. And we know Vin Diesel does not have sleeves.
This is not working.
You don't need sleeves when
We're basically looking at set photos here. That's pretty much what this is.
Yeah. It's like, production stills. It's like, oh, Tyrese. Yeah, he's over there chilling. And then now people are driving in the dirt. Even though that shot.
Cars can fly. We know that from this universe.
The shot of them driving, like how casual Letty is. I was just like, hey, it's what you got to do. Like, nobody was worried at all.
This is classic, very classic Fast and Furious.
Do you think if Vin Diesel and The Rock didn't have this beef between them, that they would have just had some discovery that The Rock's character was his brother instead of bringing in another wrestler? Like, is John Cena just a backup?
Well, it's funny. I was gonna ask what you thought about the John Cena being his brother thing, because I'm like, I don't see the family resemblance, but
no. One of them is
you're saying John Cena is his brother?
Yes. And he's been living in his shadow. He's been living in his shadow.
As we all have.
And he's tired. He's sick of it. Right? He's sick of it. He doesn't want it anymore. And he's teamed up with Charlize or whoever, and he's going to take him down.
That's the plot. The plot is that I'm set with my older brother.
He's supposed to be. I think he's supposed to be the older brother. I think Vin Diesel is. I think Dom.
Who knows, man?
Dom is the younger brother. Oh, so the older brother's like, bro, going down.
One of the lines from the trailer that John Cena says is, "You always say never turn your back on family, but you turned your back on me."
Ooh.
Yes.
The only thing about retconning brothers, like, all right, okay. To give them props. It's the 9th movie, man. You got to do something. You got to freshen it up. You got to. But I don't think anybody ever thought that maybe, and when you get to this level, maybe going smaller instead of bigger for a second. Like going to like a smaller film instead of like this big bomb. But at the same time, this is the same franchise where a car drove from one building to another building.
Yeah.
And then to another building. Like, I want to explain how crazy and kind of cool it was at the same time. Like I was just like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. You don't care about physics when this stuff happens, man. Don't worry about it.
No.
Yeah. I don't care about science. I do. I'm shocked that Helen Mirren is in it. I cannot believe that.
Oh, no, not Benzo.
She's been in these before.
She has?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's Jason Statham's mom.
Yeah.
Of course she is.
I forgot his name. Shaw.
And
she's Shaw's mom.
Yeah, and Not Benzo said that they're probably stepbrothers. So that could make sense.
That's true.
Stepbrothers, and hey, you said that I'd always be your family. Like, this won't happen. Oh,
here's the Chris Nolan ripoff.
Oh, not the Chris Nolan ripoff.
The Joker did that a long time ago. I mean, come on.
True. Yeah, he did.
I spent my time in your shadow. I love that.
But
that's great.
Did he do it? Did he do it with regular human beings though? No, it was Joker and Batman, and they're essentially superheroes. Dom, he's just a guy that drives and lives his life a quarter mile at a time. You know, it's all this. So it's different. It's not like Batman. It's different. You know what I'm saying?
See, here we go. Cars in space. Here it is.
Oh,
Where else can you go?
Yeah.
You got to go to space.
Fast and Furious beat Tom Cruise to space.
They got to go get that's floating up there as space junk. Well, that was just nothing but epic. That was amazing. I am now super stoked about that.
There's another one that has them where basically they're driving through the city and you get to see a little bit more of like the car chase
with the magnets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They're using electromagnets. All right. So pace yourself. All right. We're driving through the streets. Now we've already seen them drag a huge safe through the streets of Brazil. You know what I'm saying? But now they have electromagnets pulling cars through buildings. I mean, all you can do is just say, "Hey, sure."
Yeah, why not?
I'm not particularly against it.
Well, Daryl and I do not agree on the best Fast and Furious. We have difference of opinion on the best Fast and Furious. What
he means he's wrong.
So yeah, so what is? I want to see if Michael can be the tiebreaker here. Michael, what is your favorite?
I don't even remember which one you think is the best.
You don't remember the second one? No, the second one was the worst, dude. No, not the second one. But I have.
The second one has the famous line that you love so much, where he says, "I'm gonna choke you."
But the second one also has Carter Verone, where he puts the rat on the dude's stomach and he like sets the thing on fire. So I mean, come on, you got to give that some credit.
Yeah. Plus the introduction of Tyrese's character,
and then Paul Walker says, "This guy's Old Testament." Which
yeah.
yeah.
So all right, the best Fast and Furious. That's a tough one. All right, so we're not counting Tokyo Drift, even though the story kind of counts it. But
you can count whatever you want. You could even count Point Break if you want, because let's be honest, this all started as a Point Break ripoff. So
yes, but look at what this has done that Point Break never could.
I know. Yeah.
See what I'm saying? This is crazy. All right, the best one.
The best one.
Number 5 is pretty good. Like if you're talking about like just fun and crazy stuff. But I think number 6,
pretty good make it the best.
Number 6, I think, is the first one where The Rock comes in.
No, that's 5.
That's 5?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, where he says, "This is Brazil." Oh yeah, that's the best one. That's the best one. That's the best one. That's the absolute best one. Because he like goes out there and like Rock comes up like, "Oh, I got you now. You're gonna be arrested." And he said, "Nope, this is Brazil." And they're like, "Everybody, come on, man. Can't beat it. It's too easy." It's the first movie with The Rock, and they didn't hate each other yet. So it was really good. Yeah, I think I have to give it to 5. They dragged the safe through the streets. Paul Walker jumped off of that train into the water or something like that. Or no, somebody else did it. A train went into the water somehow. Trying to explain these isn't the best part. But if you go back to the beginning, like, all right, check it. There are these people stealing DVDs.
That's my favorite. The first one is my favorite. That's my favorite of all. Is the first one. So
it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Yeah. Winning's winning.
Winning's winning. That's one of my favorite lines.
They all have quotes.
They all have quotes. By the way, your team, Mary Baldwin, also likes 5. Daryl, what is yours? Reveal your favorite Fast and Furious?
4. Just Fast and Furious. Number 4, I think, is the best. Because
we find out Letty's still alive?
No, that's 6.
Oh, it is?
4, okay. 4 is the one where she dies.
Yes.
4 is the one where they basically all came back together. So it's the first time that it really started to blow up and get big. But it's not like too big. It's not like a Black Ops crazy insane thing that it is now. It was still more about like the relationships and for me personally, it focused more on Paul Walker, who was always my favorite character in the franchise. So the farther we get away from him, the harder time I have with it. So
yeah, even not Vinzo is saying Fast 4 is highly underrated. So yeah, I'd say because you had Fast and Furious, but then you had Too Fast, Too Furious. Come on.
And it was not.
Okay, hold on. All right. They did the stare and drive. They put the rat on that guy's stomach. They did the thing where the two trucks squashed the dude in the car. They did that. And they stole the money at the end. Remember the bricks of money? It's too good. It's too many good things. See, what we need to do is a supercut of all the cool moments out of Fast and Furious and just put those together. Like,
isn't that pretty much what the movies already are, though? I mean,
well, no, because there is downtime where they're like talking and stuff, and
where they're being a family.
Yeah, when they're being a family, they're having cookouts and stuff. Like, okay, look at the first Fast and Furious. Remember when they had the shot where they were like working at the store and they came and beat up Paul Walker? They don't need that. Let's just skip to the part where the guys are shooting at the car and the car blows up. That's cool. You know, that's all you need. And just call it Fast and Furious Supercut and put it out in theaters. People will pay for it.
Oh, yeah. The thing that made me like the first bet, I actually liked, and it wasn't realistic, but it was some sense of like, this is car culture, this is a subculture. Mm-hmm. I liked that a lot. I was kind of into that. But as soon as they went more toward the action, like an action movie, like don't worry about it. The cars are just they're just window dressing. And it's like, man, I like the car stuff. That's why I'm team one for that franchise. Well,
to your credit, I remember going to see the first one because a friend of mine, I had a couple of friends that used to race. And I remember going to see the first one, and the whole lot was like a car show. Like I remember, so you're right. Car culture like really came out for that movie. Like I came, there were like Ferraris and Corvettes and like the whole. It was crazy. It was a car show at the movie theater, and like after the movie, people were like hanging out. Some people were tailgating. It was a thing. It was like a car show / movie get together, hang out. And it was actually kind of fun. So now you couldn't do that, but I mean, you know, back then it made sense.
I used to own a Honda. I put rims on and lowered, so I was into it. I was into the whole culture thing. Yeah, it's not as cool as Paul Walker, but I was trying.
Earlier, Jim asked, "So has the franchise now jumped the shark?" Isn't it shocking that there never has been a shark? Like, isn't it crazy that these movies haven't had any sharks? But
there should have been a Sharknado crossover.
There was never any shark. This franchise started on the other side of the shark. So, like, there was no shark to jump because it was already way too far gone.
Yeah, it was already kind of hyperbolic and crazy and like, because I mean, all right. The series started from, all right, there's these guys in cars that are like shooting harpoons through trucks and ripping off the trucks while they're driving and driving under the trailer and stuff and just all this like weird stuff where it's like in real life, you're wondering if you could do that at that speed.
Right.
But you're like, it looks cool. And it's the first time we've ever seen this kind of thing done. So, okay. But they were just stealing like DVDs and stuff. Or DVD players. It just didn't seem that cool. Like when you look back at it, you were like, these guys are real criminals. And then
we're out here robbing blockbusters.
Because they were like Dom beat a guy with a like a pipe or something. his dad wrecked. Yeah, with a tire. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Oh, Dom is crazy. He's the one." And you're in too deep, Paul Walker. Well, I mean, his name wasn't Paul. Sorry, but you're in too deep.
So let me tell you, before we go off of this, let me tell you the ultimate way to end up this franchise, and
All
the
right.
best, and the one thing they could do that will never be toppable.
Okay.
Keanu Reeves as Johnny Utah in the franchise.
Oh.
Wow. Johnny Utah comes in to I guess well, no, he doesn't really bring them down because they work with the government now. So you don't really need to take him down. Maybe he comes in to help him. Like, this is not one.
It doesn't even matter.
Super criminal or something.
Just him being there. That's it. Like, all done.
Or Keanu Reeves plays 2 roles, and John Wick is in it too.
Oh.
Johnny Utah, John Wick versus the 9. I'm just saying.
With a cameo of Ted at like a Starbucks or something.
Now I'm in. If this is Fast and Furious 10, I'm in. I don't remember the last time I saw a Fast and Furious movie. Probably whatever was before Hobbs and Shaw is the last one I saw.
All joking aside, I did see an article that says Justin Lin, who directed it, will not rule out a crossover with Jurassic Park.
You know what?
Why not?
Why not? Okay, hold on. Let's workshop this. All right, not Benzo. I see you in the chat. We're all together. Let's workshop this. All right. So in Jurassic Park, that girl let all the dinosaurs out. All right, remember? And then they did that little short on YouTube where dinosaurs running around regular places and little kids were scared of them and stuff. So now dinosaurs is out there. All right, and they have to round up the new dinosaurs, the bad, and then they're like, who can do it? But our covert team. And then The Rock comes back and Hobbs comes back because they need dinosaurs are too strong. So they need extra people so that everybody comes back for the last push to kind of, I guess, kill the dinosaurs. I don't know. I mean, because
and then Goldblum is standing in the
let
corner going, "This is crazy."
It's not
crazy.
It's not a crossover until they pull up next to another car and it's a Velociraptor driving in and it looks over.
It's blue.
Looks over to the side. That's what I want to see. All right, so let's get into this Loki trailer because otherwise we're going to talk about Fast and Furious all night long. I'm going to share my screen so we'll see a very choppy version of this trailer. Although most of it's already loaded, so hopefully it'll be somewhat decent. I can't promise anything. But yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Full screen, and here we go. I've seen the first Loki trailer. I have not seen this one.
Okay. And this one I've seen a few times.
Okay.
It's so beautifully weird. I'm glad that we can get weird now.
The weirdest thing about it is this is not even the Loki we know. Like, this is not the Loki that's been through the entire MCU. This
really?
is, because this is the Loki from the first movie who grabbed the Tesseract in Avengers Endgame and then disappeared. So he hasn't been through anything.
Yeah, this isn't like our sort of reformed Loki. This is our just arrested Loki.
Yeah.
The aesthetic is very Umbrella Academy to me. It feels like an Umbrella Academy of a show.
A show that I did not like season 1, but I did like season 2.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not like season 1. That was rough.
By the way, I feel Wilson is the best, and I'll watch him in pretty much anything.
He is killing this trailer. He is killing this trailer.
He's great in this. He's a great foil to Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, the whole thing about makes you sound smart. I am smart. Of course. Of course you are.
So there's one shot in this trailer that I have huge questions about.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if we even can see it clearly in this. If not, I will just talk about it. I'll bring it up. But
okay.
Let's see. Oh, also when he asks if he can have a weapon, it's like, no. No, you can't. Look at him trying to act like a nice person.
Yeah.
That was a crazy shot right there.
Yeah, I think it maybe got skipped over. So,
which one was it?
Okay, so there's one shot in the trailer that looks a lot like Vormir, which is the plant, which is where Thanos got the Soul Stone, and it looks like Black Widow sitting on a rock.
Yeah, that shot it happened real quick. I know which one you're talking about, but it happens real quick.
Now, there's another character in the show apparently that it could be and probably is, but I think they certainly want you to think that maybe it's Natasha.
Well, if they're going to use that if we're using the Loki that we know of, they did have their little one-on-one kind of like, moment in the helicarrier.
Yeah.
So you do have that, and then her knowing like more stuff of, I guess, him and his brother's missions or whatever, maybe, then that would be an interesting look at the old / new / regular Loki.
Yeah.
But sliders, I'm down with sliders with Loki. Like that's I'm completely excited about that.
Sliders. That is something I've not thought about in a long time.
I haven't gone back and watched it because I'm pretty sure
it's not going to hold up.
It's not going to hold up. But when I was little, sliders was great.
With the O'Connell brothers.
Yeah.
Yes.
By the way, Jim Baldwin said that final or Fast and Furious 10 should be called The Quest for More Money. Which is pretty epic. Thanks, Jim. What were you gonna say? You're gonna ask a question?
Do you think we're gonna get any kind of Chris Hemsworth, love in here, or no? Do you think they'll just have him on his own? Because we have had a couple of, since we have 2 series now, we've had a couple of cameos, or maybe not cameos, but a couple of appearances that we didn't expect. I sure did not expect Elaine to show up in Falcon and Winter Soldier, but we've had stuff like Monica show up. We've had the Dora Milaje show up. We've had Rhodey show up. So there's maybe there's an opportunity for Thor, or if they do, are we going to get the old or the new Thor? Like, which one will we see?
I don't think either of them. Because all those people showed up on Falcon and Winter Soldier, but spoiler alert, Steve Rogers did not. So
no, he did not.
I think Thor showing up in Loki would kind of be the equivalent of that. I think they kind of probably want him to stand on his own.
So like maybe smaller people might show up, but not
and not Benzo. Not Benzo clarified for me how this is probably not Natasha in the trailer. He says. He says it's Sophia DiMattino's character in the show, who we think is Lady Loki. And the scene is when Earth is collapsing at the end of the world.
So here's what I'm gonna say this would pick. It's not happen because Disney's never gonna allow it to happen. But I want to see Chris Hemsworth in Loki, but playing Hulk Hogan, which is the character he's playing next. So it's Chris Hemsworth as Hulk Hogan in Loki. But that's what I'm going for there.
Wow.
I mean, they are going through like different times and probably realities. So rights wise, that would be hard to do, but it would be funny. Like just to be on TV in the background or something like that, that could actually be kind of funny.
That'd be perfect. And by the way, for those of you catching the audio, you can go over to YouTube and actually watch basically everyone's talking to my connection so bad that it's showing stills of the trailer instead of the smoother. But you can go see that if you want to. You can go see that as opposed to just hearing us talk about it. By the way, Mary did point out that the difference between Evans and Hemsworth is that Hemsworth is Thor, whereas Evans is based on Cap. So
I disagree. I don't think he's done.
You don't think he's done?
No, he threatened to retire from acting altogether years ago, and that hasn't happened. So,
yeah, and Deadline reported that he'd been, casted for other parts of the MCU, like that Cap is going to show up here or there. Disney hasn't confirmed it. They haven't denied it either. So, who knows? Deadline isn't the gold standard of truth, but they're not. I'd say Deadline is right more than they're wrong, I guess. It's still the rumor game, so sort of take it with a grain of salt. But with Disney being quiet about it, Kevin Feige not saying anything about it, maybe they're trying to,
I just don't think with all
a little
of
secret together for us.
Yeah, with all of the cool stuff that they're touching on in the comics now, I just can't see them overlooking the opportunity to bring to bring Chris Evans back into the current version of Captain America that we now have. Like can I spoil Falcon and Winter Soldier now? Are we clear to do that?
Yeah. Spoilers. We're gonna get into this anyway. So just for the Falcon and Winter Soldier all the way through the finale, we're gonna be talking about all that. So go ahead.
Okay, Sam Wilson is now Captain America. So, which happened in the comics too. And then one of the coolest things in the comics was how they brought Sam and Steve and Bucky all back together after Sam was Captain America, and Steve Rogers was just kind of Steve Rogers. He wore his more like Shield type suit and stuff like that. And I just think that dynamic is so cool that I don't see how they would pass up an opportunity to touch on that at some point.
They know what the fans want, so too. Like, I have a feeling that there's going to be a scene wherein Chris Evans as Cap, or as him in the Shield suit, punches U.S. agent, and everyone's going to go berserk over that. Going to love.
Yeah, I can probably see that, because the way they have their kind of like chemistry is way too good to try to pass up as far as how they come across on screen. Like, they come across natural. And that's something that I'd say about the whole series. Like, everybody kind of came across natural. But Bucky, Cap, and Sam all together kind of, they come together and they seem like, people that actually like hanging around each other.
That's a good point.
That's
a good point.
I will say I don't want Steve Rogers back in a long-term capacity. I want it to be like a one-time thing, because I love Sam and Bucky, and I love the dynamic between the two of them. And I'm a big legacy guy, so I'm really into those two characters just because they're now legacy characters, right? So I love it.
So I'll just say this about the Loki trailer really quick, is that it's one of my favorite MCU trailers that I've ever seen. Honestly, like, I think it's like a really legit trailer. So hopefully that. But go ahead and transition into, since we've already started talking about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, let's talk about the finale. Like, what did you guys think about the finale? Was it as good as WandaVision for you as a series? Is it the future of the MCU? Talk to me about it. What do you think, Michael?
For me, I think it's better than the WandaVision finale. I think the series is better than WandaVision, but I had my issues with WandaVision kind of early on because I felt like we wasted 2 episodes to actually get into the show. But even though I like the finale of Falcon and Winter Soldier more than I like WandaVision, I think the finale should have been longer, because I do feel like we kind of zipped through it. I feel like I would have liked a double episode, or double-sized issue. Like I would have enjoyed that, or because there was definitely, to me, seemed a rush of pace to kind of like get everything going and get everything.
We're getting a movie, apparently.
Oh yeah. So maybe that'll, give us a chance to kind of flesh out the rest of it.
Yeah.
But I had a ball watching it though. I did. It was pretty cool. I have like certain narrative issues with it, but overall, I'm like, you're talking about like 85%, cheering for it, and then 15% like, oh, why didn't like small stuff. So it's not important enough to like break down the whole show. This show is probably hovering around a low A, B+ for me.
Nice.
Like that's how much I liked it.
Daryl, you were on the same as Michael?
I probably liked it more than that, actually. So the whole Captain America corner of the MCU has been my favorite for the whole run. Like the Winter Soldier is still my favorite MCU movie. And I love the finale to this show, but I would say, and I think I texted you this, Jay, but I would say that as much as I love the finale, episode 5 of the series might be my second favorite thing that the MCU has ever put out. Like that single episode, when they kind of got to move beyond the whole, I know there's still more US agent to come, but they beat John Walker, they caught him, and they kind of moved beyond that. And the rest of it is about Sam and Bucky sort of connecting and moving past their legacies and coming to terms with what Steve meant to them and what the Shield meant to them. And for the first time, you kind of get to see Bucky finally step beyond the Winter Soldier thing and finally start to think beyond it. And like, as a legacy guy, like, man, that was just the absolute best. Like, I love that so much.
Yeah. I said that he felt like it was like same as Michael, like a little bit under finale. He says A-, and I would actually say almost the exact same thing that Michael said. I think that for me, Michael, WandaVision was the same way. First 2 episodes, I'm like, I don't even know if this is a good show. I'm watching this show. Then I actually loved WandaVision throughout the middle. And then I felt like both finishes for both shows were a little bit. I really liked what they did with Isaiah Brad here. I really like what they did with Sam here. Some of the other characters that were in, then kind of like I don't know that they really did enough with Carly. I'm sure they did enough with Zemo. I know he's gonna show again, but like it felt like he just appeared. Like some of these characters kind of faded into the background. They could spend a little bit more time on Sam and Isaiah, but I wish they had a whole episode of that. Like, give me a whole episode of that. Like, that would have been fantastic. I was telling Michael before we started this that I watched him and his crew talk about the finale and their thoughts on the finale. And I just want to give a shout out to Nerd Soul. Go watch this video, watch this, them break this down, because there was a really conversation where they were asking the question about what it's like to have a black Captain America. And
yeah.
And he's in the red, white, and blue. And what does that signify? And how does that work? And they're approaching that from different angles. I would tell you that was a fantastic to stick around for a while. And I thought it was really, really good, because it was good, honest discussion with multiple perspectives, and everybody was being really respectful of one another. And I think it was very informative, and you would have learned from watched it. So I cannot say anything. Go watch that video. I wish they would have spent a little more time on that.
I didn't expect it to go that way, but I got those guys together because I was like, we'll see what happens when we talk about this. But I really, that was because, it's just an interesting place for Sam to be, but it's weird. It's like we all understand it, but then we all kind of want more, but then we all understand this is who Sam is. Like, we can't want Sam to be more than he is or different than he is. But that whole scene, especially seeing how it played out with Isaiah Bradley, was cool. of course, I wanted more, or like to play out differently. But I do like the fact that he was able to sort of, give him some semblance of, I guess notoriety for what he had done, the people he had saved, and all that stuff. Especially since he had been like jailed and experimented on and whatever.
You know what I think would have killed it if they would have done it a little bit more deep. Instead of giving him a statue in the adjacent room, they should have had the video screens of Cap pop out with a photo of Isaiah. Like they should have been part of the Cap. That's what I would have done. That's what I would have thought would be cooler because it's part of that narrative.
I can't remember who it was. They were like, "Why did they have him in the back?" I was like, "Look, baby steps. We know, baby steps, of course. Because even me, I wanted a scene of a ceremony similar to when he put up the shield or whatever. A ceremony saying like, "Hey, this is this guy. You guys don't know, but he's done this for his country. He's done that." He had the serum as well. He saved these people and blah, blah, blah. And then, a standing ovation and of course that one strong tear. And then we could have that moment. But of course, we have to fly through this finale. So.
That's right. The finale goes fast.
The finale had a lot of stuff to cover. And that's even before the series started. I was like, 6 episodes is, even though I do enjoy shorter seasons, but I was like, 6 is kind of tight. Yeah. And I kind of enjoy FX's setup where it's 10 episodes, but maybe 8. But and I said this in the review where I was like, I would like to take the 2 episodes from WandaVision, the beginning of WandaVision, and put them on the tail end of this show. Because when we got to episode 3, I was like, oh, well, between what is her name? Kat, but it's not her name in the show. But between her watching the TV show of it happening, we basically got like a Cliff's Notes of the first 2 episodes. So I was technically we didn't super. I mean, it was fun to watch because
Darcy.
Yeah, Darcy. It's cool to watch. But we could have kind of got into it, and enjoyed the show a little bit more, at least from my perspective. But yeah, the finale, I would have liked either a double finale or another episode to kind of give some room to breathe.
Yeah, I agree with that too. That'd have been cool. By the way, Mary Baldwin says that she liked the Zemo smiling from his prison cell. And then she just says like she wants more of Zemo, and who doesn't want more of Zemo? I mean, Marvel released the whole hour of him dancing, right? You don't want more Zemo, Daryl?
Just coming through the club,
I actually thought
that was one of your favorites.
He was my favorite villain in Civil War, but I actually thought getting more of him in this context, kind of the whole dancing scene and making him a little bit more of a mastermind and stuff, making him more villainy. I was kind of like, I like what they did with Zemo in Civil War. I like that he was kind of a normal guy that was trying to get repercussions and stuff. But I enjoyed him. I like Daniel Bruhl, but I didn't Bruhl or Bruhl. I like him, however you say his last name. Yeah, I didn't love the way that Zemo went in this. They kind of made him.
Oh man,
I like Zemo a lot.
Yeah. I love that it made an excuse for the Dora Milaje to come in.
Oh yeah,
and that we got to see Ayo again. That was awesome.
Yeah,
that was cool.
That fight scene in the fight scene in the hotel room where Zemo was like, well, since y'all are so busy, let me go. I'll see myself out.
That's awesome. All right, so I have one last question for us to discuss. This is where we get a little bit deeper, and we're going to go character by character. I want to know what you guys think. I think a lot of people slept on some of the depth in this show. They came at this issue about basically, if you want Western imperialism, how we deal with refugees, the Black experience in America. They came at this like all of these collective things, almost as if they were taking like like an oppression of minority groups, if you will. I'm probably not doing that justice, but that's kind of what they were doing with this show to a degree. And they were doing it from all of these different angles. Like all of the characters had a different reason for doing what they were doing and why they were doing it. So I just want to hear from you guys, like which characters were doing the right things and which were doing the wrong things. And what do you think about, like, what's your explanation for that? So let's start out with Walker. Right? What is he doing the right things? Is he doing the wrong things, and how? I'll start with you this time, Daryl. What do you think?
Well, okay. First, let me just throw this sort of blanket cop-out answer out. It's gonna sound like a cop-out answer, but I really believe it, because I don't think anybody in this show, at least at the beginning, is completely right. I think everybody is a little bit wrong, which I think is what makes it so interesting. I think that's what makes it more of an honest look at some of these real world issues that are laced behind the story, Like there isn't one person who's got it all figured out and we're just waiting for everybody else to catch up. It's we're all struggling through this, and hopefully we can find some higher level or a common ground together. So I like that about the show. Walker, I think in the beginning, I think he's trying to do the right thing. But I think he's too caught up in the excitement of being Captain America, and obviously it goes to his head real quick. So
very fast.
What do you think? What do you think, Michael? Is Walker doing the right thing? Is he doing the wrong thing? Or is he on this scale?
Walker's in this weird place of the difference between legal and right, because as a soldier, he's done everything the government has asked him to do. He's killed who he's supposed to kill. He's bombed who he's supposed to bomb. Shoot at who he's supposed to. He's actually done everything they told him to do. And actually, even what he did in broad daylight with that, with one of the Flag Smasher characters, that's most likely how he rolls. That's how the military rolls. Like, yo, you shot one of our guys, we're going to take out one of your guys. That's so. As a soldier, he wasn't wrong. But back to Captain America's first movie, that's why the guy was talking about, I'm not looking for a good soldier as much as I'm looking for a good man. Paraphrasing. And this shows the huge difference about being a good man. And then it goes to questions like, can a good man be king, and things like that. I think John Walker was wrong, and he knew he was wrong, because at the end, when he was going after Carly, but then saw people were in danger, you kind of saw like this quick change where he was like, all right, let me save these people. You know what I mean? Like because the whole time, Sam, Bucky are trying to save people, or trying to like de-escalate things, or trying to cool things out, and he's like stepping it up every time. So you did see this one moment where he was like, all right, well, I guess maybe I should save some people. Not saying whether that little piece absolves him at all, no. But I do think he finally started to realize that, he wasn't doing the best job at being Captain America.
What I love about that scene,
I guess I'll throw it right there.
Yeah, sorry, I mean, I love that scene about him having to choose. Is if you go back just a few minutes in the episode before that, he basically watched Bucky have to do the same thing, because they put Bucky in the same situation where he had to choose to go after them or to save people. He just made the choice a whole lot quicker. But it's kind of cool to see Bucky go through that and then to throw it at Walker.
Yeah, and before I talk about it a little bit, Mary said that thinks Walker had good intent, but he was humble at the start, let his ego blow up, and then he's one of the worst candidates for the serum. But just like America, we may have good intentions, but we do some bad stuff. I think it's interesting, because I think if you break each character by their intent and their behavior, it's kind of an interesting thing to judge them by, because it goes right on. Like John Walker does not want to be Captain America the way that Chris Evans, or I should say the way that Steve Rogers wants to be Captain America. Steve Rogers wants to be better than the U.S. government, right? Like that's his whole shtick is like, you can't even subject me to the government because I'm going to be more of the ideals of what America should be as opposed to what America actually is. Whereas Walker is, no, I'm just an embodiment of the government. Like I'm just going to do what it asks me to do. I'm an arm of the government. I don't think his intent is bad, but if you want to be subject to a system and that system has goals and objectives that are inherently selfish to the system wants to do well for itself at the expense of foreign powers, at the expense of even some of its sins, then guess what? You fall into that trap of being subject to this system. Whereas I think Steve Rogers was like, well, I'm beyond this. I'm the amendment. I'm not the employee of, right? So it's a very different dynamic that they set up there. So I think what happens is that when you are told to do things and be, like, to your point, Michael, a good soldier, you inherently set up behaviors. Even if your intent is more pure, like, I'm going to serve this entity that I think is good. All that entity has to do is get off track, and and it's not going to work. So I think that he should probably reassess what he's doing because inherently he's going to do bad stuff.
I think the fact that they showed blood on the shield was one of the most powerful parts of this whole series. Because you go back through 2,000 MCU films, and I'm pretty sure there's not a drop of blood on that shield the entire time. So that was a really powerful thing.
And the way the blood got on the shield was because it was more of kind of like a public execution, which is something that definitely is way different than what Steve would have ever done, what Sam would have done. Even Sam was like, hey, look, let me talk to her and this and the third. And he's like, well, if you don't finish it in 10 minutes or something, like, do it my way. And it's like, and we made fun of him. There were a couple of times when he had a statement like that. It's like, we don't work for you. We don't work for you. What do you mean we're doing it your way? We don't work for you. Like, I know this whole, you were on Good Morning America and everything, but I don't work for you. I'm Bucky or I'm Sam, and we're doing our own thing. Yeah. We're not even with the U.S. government right now. We're out here doing what we want to do. All right. Bad boys for life.
So I think we can safely say that John Walker was wrong. He was not doing the right things because at very best, I think that they showed two examples of where he is too much of a nationalist, right? He's for America and for only. And he's also, because of Mary's comment, when his ego goes up, he actually becomes a nationalist and he becomes an individualist, where he wants to be the one in the limelight. He wants to reclaim his former glory, so to speak. He wants to make John Walker great again. I didn't have that written down. That was off the cuff. So yeah.
Well, and he's not brave like Steve Rogers was. So
correct.
He killed that guy. Killed that guy in the street. But that wasn't even the person that killed Battlestar. Carly killed Battlestar. Yep. And so he's not even owning up to the fact that he didn't even catch the right person. He just wants to look like he's doing the right thing. Yep. And he's scared to death that someone's going to find out. Like, he goes and visits Battlestar's parents and tells them he got the guy that killed him, but he didn't. So he lies about that. And if you watch the MCU, Steve never, ever backs down from any sense of responsibility at any point.
Yeah. All right, Michael.
Even when they were like, hey, we're going to arrest you, he was just like, nope, not so.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Michael, you mentioned Sam already. Let's talk about Sam. Was Sam in the right or was he in the wrong?
I say To a certain degree, I say yeah. He spent most of the show out of everyone else trying to actually save people, trying to like save people, work things out, de-escalate. But when we meet Sam, he's essentially a counselor for veterans that have PTSD or other issues that they just want to talk about and get off their chest and vent. So he's already in a place where he cares about people, and caring about people is, in my view, is always the right thing. I think he is probably the only one that does care about people in this series outside of Bucky, because Bucky cares about people, but he's also dealing with his own older stuff that he has to kind of work out. So he doesn't really have time to care the same way, because it's like, hey, I'm trying to shuffle around my demons with the therapist and everything. But the way he approaches Carly, the way he approaches even fighting her at the end, is a situation that I enjoy, and a situation that I really and truly respect, because it could have been easy for him to fight Carly at full strength. It could have been easy for him to sneak up on her or attack her during the funeral. Could have been, all kinds of stuff like this. But he didn't. He used restraint, something that Kat would have used. Used discipline. He used care and things like that. Empathy, where anyone else could have just came in guns blazing, but he was like, hey, how can we fix this? Because Carly wasn't particularly wrong. It's just that she started to escalate when her frustration with the amount of time that it was taking and the fact that people weren't listening, which is understandable as well. So he sees where she's coming from. He's just trying to make sure, like, hey, how can I work this out where people will actually like listen to me and to you, because right now people want to kill you.
Yeah. And I'll say for me with Wilson, I think he's the only character throughout the show who's 100% in the right. And what I mean by that is, even when he is at the beginning of the show and hasn't made his character arc yet, right? Because his character arc is to basically go from a guy who doesn't know if he wants to take on this responsibility to a guy who chooses to take on this responsibility. Even before that, Bucky's giving him a hard time, but he's not ignoring the Captain America persona because he doesn't want the attention or he has but he's really trying to be respectful of what it was, and he's wondering if he can fit in the mold. He's wondering if he would be accepted in that mold. So there's nothing wrong about that. That's just him questioning whether or not that's a good choice for him to make. So he's the one this entire thing where I go, he's actually, and maybe one of the, besides somebody like Steve Rogers, one of the most altruistic characters, at least in this series, the entire MCU, in terms of what he's trying to accomplish from the start of this show to the finish of this show. So I think that for me, it was easy for me to say, like, look, his intent is correct, because his intent at all times is to serve other people, never making it about himself. Even when he's trying to help out his sister and his nephews, it's not about him. It's about making it about him. It's about serving other people. You guys brought up the Carly interaction at the end. He could have gone full U.S. He probably even has a certain right to do it because she's been killing a lot of people, but he doesn't do that. He still understands where she's coming from. He understands her. He protects other people and tries to get her to change her mind, but he doesn't go full violence. So I think you can multiple examples of where Sam Wilson is actually like super in. So I don't know, Daryl, what do you think?
Ditto. you said pretty much everything I was going to say. Yeah, I don't think he was wrong at any point. I think he was just afraid and didn't think that, like Isaiah Bradley said, they will never let there be a black Captain America. So I think he felt that way too, even though he hadn't said it. So yeah, I don't think he was wrong. I think he needed to go through his journey to get to the point where he was ready to step up.
Yeah. Yeah, well, then I'm going to stick with you because we're going to go into Bucky Barnes next. You love Bucky Barnes. So is Bucky Barnes right? Is he wrong? Or how does this happen? Where does he go?
I think in the beginning, he's not right. I think he's still trying to to get past being the Winter Soldier, but he doesn't understand how. And so, like that one guy who he keeps having lunch with, every week because he killed his son, like he won't come out and tell him that he killed his son, but he does care for the guy and he wants to show some regard for him. So I think he's inching his way through. He's getting to the point where he's starting to try to figure out how to learn to live with what he's done, but he's not willing to risk anything for it, if that makes any sense. Until you get to the point, one of the reasons I love episode 5 so much, after they put Walker away and he's out there in that field training with the Shield with Sam, and Sam starts to talk to him about why what he's doing is not quite right. Because he says to him, he's like, you're supposed to be making amends, but you're avenging, He's like, you're not doing the right thing. You need to be of service to these people. And I think that's probably my favorite moment in the whole series is when Sam kind of lays it out and tells him, here's what you're not doing. And it's actually fairly simple, It's like, and in that moment you really see this is why Sam is the next Captain America and Bucky is not, at least not yet. Because in the comics, if anybody doesn't know, in the comics, they've both been Captain America. Like Bucky was Captain America right after Steve Rogers was allegedly killed. And then Sam became Captain America much later on. So, but yeah, I love Bucky. I think in the end of the show, he's probably more right than he's ever been since Captain America, the First Avenger, It's going through and all of his Winter Soldier stuff. I think he's finally to the point where he's ready to be a hero. And I hope we get to see that. Like, I love that there's going to be another film because I think if they had made Sam Captain America and then just kind of relegated him to these Disney Plus shows and not given him another full-fledged movie, that would have been unfortunate, That would have been not respecting it the way they should. So I love that we're getting another movie. I just hope that Bucky's involved. I hope we get more Bucky because he is now my favorite character in the MCU.
Whoa. Big. What do you think, Michael? What do you think, Bucky? Is he right or wrong?
Bucky, I think, isn't really right. I think he's more lost when we first meet him because he's let he hasn't really let his old life go, but he's not an agent, of chaos anymore. He's not under mind control anymore, but he's just kind of existing. So he's not really right or wrong as far as the people around him. I'd say he's definitely wrong to himself because of basically what Sam says to him. Like, you're not really doing the work that'll get you out of the hole that you're in mentally and emotionally. But at the end, I think he's definitely on to like a more positive place with his life, which I enjoy because, he went back, he let the guy know kind of like how his son really passed. And I assume he'll do that with, a couple of other people. Of course, they'll probably say it happened off screen, but he'll atone for whatever he can and, kind of like make amends where he can, because that guy, knowing something was always weird with his son's death, giving him that closure is, it's a huge thing for him. And what he was doing at first where he wasn't letting the man know, but spending time with him, was sort of emotionally selfish, where you're getting the closure you need by saying like, oh, I'm spending time with him, I'm being like a surrogate son for him or whatever, but you're not really letting him know the truth of why you're there. So at the end, I think he's a much better man. You see him ready to kind of move into his next step of life at 110 years old or whatever. So
here's a question
the golden years.
Yeah. Here's a question that I would love to ask the Russo brothers if I ever got the chance. So in the comics, in the whole Winter Soldier storyline, Bucky never had the super soldier serum. He's just a normal guy. So he never had Steve's strength and all that kind of stuff, which obviously is different in the movies. And I think that's just yet another reason that Sam becoming Captain America is so powerful, because he's not a super soldier. You know, he doesn't have the serum. He doesn't have that inside of him. And yet he's still worthy and strong enough to be that character. So the question I would ask the Russo brothers is, did they always plan it that way? Like when they were making the Winter Soldier, did they think ahead, this guy's never going to be Captain America because we're giving him the serum. Sam's going to be Captain America. I would love to know that, if they had that much forethought.
I want to know why Isaiah Bradley got old, but Barnes is super young still. That's what I want to know.
Because
he didn't get frozen or anything, did he?
No, they put him in stasis. So at least in the comics, and this is probably true in the movie too, in the comics, they would put him in stasis for years and years.
Okay.
And then they would let him out and have him do a mission and then put him back into stasis. So he is older than he was when he supposedly got injured and stuff, but he's not like the same age like Cap. You know what I mean? Like he's not frozen in time. He just got slowed down, I think.
Yeah. So to Michael's earlier point, I think Bucky ends in the right. He starts out at the wrong, right? You guys have pointed out why that is. To Michael's point about it being way better, the series was longer, you could do a whole series on Bucky's arc. Like Bucky's arc is like an arc that I actually think my book actually about it is sort of about that similar type of arc. And I think it's an arc that we like to kind of see it as a storytelling arc relative to other people, but not us, right? Like, oh, other people do bad things and need forgiveness. I'm good. I know my intent, so I'm good. And I don't think that that's actually the way to behave. So I would love to see more of a redemption arc where the character has to admit they're wrong. Because Bucky, it's not totally fair, because his go-to is even kind of like, well, technically it wasn't me, I was mind controlled. But the reality is, I mean, in real life, like if you go talk to some people who are addicts, you don't get to go to somebody and be like, it wasn't me, I'm sorry, it wasn't me. You know, like, I'm sorry, you got to me. So they kind of could in some way, shape, or form.
Even Wanda. Even Wanda never really, she never really apologizes. Exactly. And nobody even really says like, hey, we're mad at you.
Right.
Right. And I mean, people were like begging her to just like kill him, like end it. And so you kept all of these people hostage for like however long, and you're just like, all right, bye.
It's true. No, and I think that these characters, like, it's like almost like they're getting away with something without it being something that they sit with for a long. Now obviously it is traumatized Bucky, and we know it's traumatized Bucky, but I think that that's a cool character, and so I like the fact that they included it. I wish we just got to explore it a little bit more, but obviously this shows so many other things that Bucky has to be put into the back. So and by the way, Buck's problem is the least core to the show, because everyone else is dealing with the same issue with how to deal with press people groups, whether it's Isaiah Bradley, what government has done to people, whether it's, from this perspective and what how government treated refugees. Like, all the problems are about, except Bucky's problem, not about that. So it's a little bit. I think it could have been a series almost, and I think that might have been even better. Maybe in the next season or something, it'll be more about Bucky and less about Sam. This was show. Let's face it, this was Sam's show, and it should have been. So let's move on to. I want to compare two characters. I think they're more than they are portrayed in the show. But let's talk about Carly and Zemo in the context of another. What do you think? Were Carly and Zemo, are they right or are they wrong? And I'll start with Michael on this one.
Carly has a point. She's right about what's going on with the GRC. She's right about what they're doing, and what they're doing is wrong by trying to force these people back. I'm not even against blowing things up or burning things down, but I am about burning and blowing up the right things. And when she started killing regular pencil paper pushing people, that they're not taking the homes from me. It's not these guys. I mean, at the end, she finally gets to the people that are actually doing stuff, but these everyday folks, the people that the government workers, they're not taking you guys and stuff. It's not them. And even the guy in the car is like, yo, there were people in there. So there is this idea. Come here real quick. Come here. Say hi.
Hi.
There he is.
I say bye.
Hi.
Hi.
Say bye. So
That's the best cameo we've ever had on the show, Mike.
Yeah.
Best cameo ever.
So she's not wrong as far as what she's talking about and fighting for. But I kind of get on the fence when it comes to regular everyday working people that are just minding their business. They're not the ones taking your homes. I mean, even Sam says at the end, you can make a phone call and feed millions. So those are the people that you need to be kind of pressing your offensive against. But Zemo, on the other hand, Zemo is wrong, but so right. I love Zemo in this. Zemo is he's a bad guy, but it's you know what? Really don't mind having you around. There's so many times when he either says something funny or very poignant about, say, super serums, or even about something like only a black man in America would think, being well dressed is a pimp, stuff like that. Making statements about Bucky, Bucky and where he is mentally. Zemo is bad. He definitely deserves to be in jail, but he helped out a lot. And I kind of like them together with him. Weirdly, the kind of charming crook with, we're not watching White Collar, but this is still an entertaining piece to watch. Even stuff where, he brought up have you been back to Sokovia? Have you seen? And it was just he was like, that's what I mean. But I also like where he has a singular vision and he does not back down. Super soldiers have to go. Besides Bucky, he'll let him live. But at the end, when that truck blew up and you saw it was the butler with the candlestick, no, Zemo is a very interesting character where it's weird. He's a villain, he's evil, but somehow he's in this weird space where it's not too bad. He's like, it's not too bad, is he? Yeah, he wants all super soldiers dead, but yeah, he's kind of got a point about them not existing in the first place. Well, but they exist now. Should we kill them? I mean, maybe no, but he was definitely wrong this whole time. But it was good to see kind of his life after jail and what he thought about their heroism and that perspective, which was very interesting, to see articulated from someone like him. So yeah, I like that.
What do you think, Daryl? What do you think? Is Zemo right or wrong? She right or is she wrong?
Yeah, I agree with everything Michael said, except for I don't like Zemo the way. I mean, I should clarify that. It's not that I didn't like him. I enjoyed. I mean, it was entertaining, obviously, but I don't know. There was something about tortured Zemo, simple man with a plan in Civil War that I loved. Like, I loved the fact that it wasn't this big, otherworldly mastermind that was doing everything. It was a guy that was pissed that he lost his family and had enough connections to bring things down. And I thought that was awesome. And I think it was good to get a little more context on him and see some of those connections. I think I just didn't like his swagger. I'm like, I didn't want like cool like Zemo, You
didn't like the jacket? The jacket was cool. He had the fur on the neck.
It was a good representation of the costume and stuff, but I don't know, man. I loved who he was in Civil War, and I feel like this is just a different. I feel like it kind of, I don't know that it betrays how he was in Civil War. Maybe that's going a little bit too far, but it didn't. Maybe this is a good way to say it. It didn't feel like, to me, the most logical progression for him to kind of come out and see him as this. You had a good description of it a few minutes ago, Michael. I can't remember what you said, but like it's something about being like the fancy criminal or something like that. I forget what you said.
Like this charming criminal.
Charming criminal. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So the Carly and Zemo are essentially both wrong in the same, and it's not that their intent is wrong, right? So their intent is not wrong either side of the equation. Zemo trying to protect by the mutant person, right? If mutants were all loving and all caring and all are fine, but as soon as they start to use their godlike power, and I use like the lowercase g, they use their powers against people who don't have powers, then they're bad, right? That's kind of Zemo's take on it. And he has evidence to prove that he and his people have been hurt by super people, so or has a reason and a rationale. His intent is necessarily wrong. I feel the same way about Carly. Like, he is trying to do a good thing, but both of them in my mind end up being wrong, but they only end up being wrong because in their desperation to win, they take it too far. So as opposed to being like, so we live in a world where like it's way too easy for us to get into winners and losers. And ultimately, I do not think we should have that perspective. I think ultimately we should have the perspective of how do we get everybody to win? And how can we? And so that's Sam Wilson's. That's his whole shtick. This show is like, how do everybody to win? And I think if you look at a character like Carly, at the end of the day, I'm fighting for her people. She's taking it too far. She wants to win, but I don't think she would stop if her people did houses, right? Like, I don't think she'd stop there. It'd be like, no, I still have to win. So in other words, we don't see her go far enough, but I would not be surprised if she went as far as Eric goes, right? Which is say, I want to win. I don't care whatever happens to all these other people because I'm going to win.
Saying that now kind of like that super soldier kind of stuff in her would be like, I can't be satisfied.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
And I could be wrong about that because we don't actually see that. So that's me hypothesizing. But the reason I think that way is because she is, to your point, Michael, she keeps increasing the stakes. At first, it was like, I'm going to bring down the symbols of the people oppressing me. And now I'm going to bring down even other people who are just involved in the situation, who are just doing their 9 to 5. And I think that pretty soon it's like, well, at what cost are you? First of all, why do you want to win? And secondly, what will you? And I think this is really important to consider. Like as we look at our own lives in real life in the country right now. And by the way, I think this is one of the best MCOs at reflecting where we're at in the world, especially. We have to ask ourselves the question, like, do I want to win or do I want everyone to win? And that's a question that's like really difficult to answer because so many people find themselves in a place where they've lost for so long that they're like, I'm just losing, man. I just want to win. And so I think it's a really, 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 really tough question to answer. But
because when thinking about that, there are those feelings of, I just want to win. Like at first, it's just this desperation of like, I just want to win. I'm tired of losing all the time. I just want to win. Yeah. Then there's also torn, mixed feelings of like, no, you need to lose.
Yes,
you need to lose for as long as I've lost because you don't understand. You got that.
Yes.
So you have, and there's validation in all of that because there's an emotional part that feels great to say, no, I'm going to, not only do I want you to lose, but I want to be the one that makes you lose.
Yes.
Because you've made me lose for X amount of time. So Carly, I see exactly where she comes from. The only part where I broke from her is where I'm like, well, these are just regular everyday people. Like, they're caught in the crossfire just like you are. But I see where Carly's going, and even Sam, he saw where she was, so it's just that escalation. But due to kind of like the frustration, it's not moving fast enough, the desperation, it's like, well, no, I have to ratchet it up.
Yep.
And I guess we'll never know how much of that was like the super serum kind of like enhancing it, or whatever. Right. But even those around her were starting to look at her like, are you sure you want to go this far?
Yeah.
Like, do we want to do this?
Exactly.
Like, are you sure you want to, because we're killing a lot of people now. Like, this wasn't just like one bomb. Now we're doing this. And even when Sam asked her about, I think the people that bombed or some other people, and she said something to the extent like, if they're in my way, then they're just in my path and they have to move or something like that. Mm-hmm. And he was like, wow. And she was like, no, you're making me sound. It's like, no, I'm not making you sound like anything. You said that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's tough because I understand her perspective, and even Zemo's with the whole like, hey, look, people should not have superpowers. Look at what it's done. Look at what it's doing now with Carly and everyone. And also to see that he didn't back down from his position. It wasn't a situation where John Walker was like, yes, cool, no one's around, I have the super serum. No, he saw the super serum and did not hesitate. He started breaking it all. So he's very, very serious about like, this should not exist. Super suits and super weapons and, aliens from other planets, like none of this should exist because it, that power is just, it's too crazy and it can't be checked.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Back to Carly. I understand why she had to go at the end, but it would have been interesting to see if she had stuck around. Mm-hmm. And to your point about the MCU kind of handling this well, MCU did a good job this season or this series of kind of touching on things deep enough to generate conversation, but not to the point where they seemed like they were taking us to like after school special or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they never come across as they let the people's intent and their behavior play out in a way that feels like it's accurate to lived experience in the real world without saying like, by the way, Carly's bad. You know what I mean? Like you can see like they have the people looking like Mary is, every time Carly's giving an order, people like, we're gonna do what now? Like there's tension even among the group in terms of what's gonna happen. So I'll give one more shout out to Michael's show. Just in general, you support Michael and you should go subscribe to his channel. But you should especially go watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier basically finale breakdown he did. The video posted Saturday.
Yeah, we went live on Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. Yeah. And it was a lot of fun. A whole lot of fun. It
was good.
It was definitely we went longer than I expected to go too. So.
Yeah, I know we're almost up on.
I mean, that happens.
Exactly. We're up on a half, so we'll close it out here. But if you want to hear a really good discussion about Falcon and Winter Soldier, go check that out. A lot of people with a lot of really good opinions, and a lot of people who were to. The reason why I really did it was because you had multiple people asking him do the right thing in taking on Cap's persona. The symbol of not Steve Rogers, the symbol of Captain America, and why. And it was not a discussion that you would hear like if you watched it on the mainstream media networks where they're like, no, he's wrong and this is why, or he's right and this is right. Like it was a nuanced, like interesting discussion where people brought up good points and went, you know what, that's a good point. I want to think about that some more. And that was awesome. Yeah,
definitely. That's one of the favorite things about that episode. When I was like, yeah, this is going to be cool. So
yeah,
after it, and then people were messaging me saying how much it mattered that we kind of like did that, and I was like, I did not have that on, like because on my show, you guys know it's kind of like free flowing. It's like, hey, we're just going to talk about the show. Let's see what happens. Yeah. And so a lot of people did message me saying how much they liked it or how much like they didn't expect us to go as deep as we did, and it was good to have. I had four people on, I think, so five in all. So it was a packed house. So it was like that, and I enjoyed it. I really did. I'm glad that people enjoyed it too. So that was fun.
Yeah,
but
it was great.
There's a lot when they touched on it, but there's a lot with just looking at using the American flag as a symbol, especially in Sam's case, as just your average. Well, I mean, he's an Avenger, but your average black man in America, kind of like wearing the American flag and like all that kind of comes with it. The good, the bad, the hate, even the internal turmoil in yourself and stuff. So there's a lot there that I think we dug up a good amount of it. I think.
Yeah, you guys did fantastic. I thought it was awesome. So we'll close it there. Please go support Michael, That Nerd Soul, on YouTube, and then you can follow him on Twitter. You can follow him on all the things. Is there anything you're promoting right now, Michael? Are you doing anything that you want to special shout out to?
This weekend, we will be getting into Invincible, the finale on Sunday at 5 p.m. PST. But besides that, during the week, I have live streams throughout the week. We do hip hop tomorrow. We'll be doing Black Lightning's new episode on Thursday. Friday, we might have Lounging, which is pretty much like Twitter and news topics. And Black Together, which is a married couple show that Lisa and I do on Thursday, possibly, depending on how the little guy is. That there's Dig Deeper on Sunday, which is about relationships as well. So there's a lot of stuff on the channel. But pretty much it's like hip hop and have some fun.
I can't up like so much channel that I'm like, what's that? I didn't see it. Go back. I gotta go back. Go definitely support Michael. We love Michael. He's been a long-term guest of ours. Michael goes back.
I have my jacket.
Yeah, and
I have my
I've
Story
moved
Geeks
twice.
jacket.
That's right, the jacket.
I've moved twice since I've known Michael. Michael was in my living room doing a podcast way back in the day.
Yeah, because you were, I can't remember. I knew it was kind of far, but you were like off of 60.
Yep, way out in Chino Hills.
Yeah, so you were out there, and then you were down south somewhere. I can't remember where that was.
Yep.
And now you're like in like Denver or something. So like
I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Almost there. I'm almost there. But it's crazy. I'll keep telling Michael he moved close to me because I want to be around Michael.
it's like, oh yeah, just move next door. It's like, well, I have to look into that.
Like, exactly.
I'll call my real estate agent right now.
Exactly. Daryl, it's always a thanks for joining me. I'm gonna see if I can get Daryl on a couple more of these shows because I love when we get to interact. Daryl, but that is it for today's show. Do not forget to subscribe to the Story Geeks podcast on YouTube or your preferred podcast provider. And if you want to support the show and unlock the ability to join in, you can find more info at thestorygeeks.com. We'll be back next week. Until then, we hope you have as much fun geeking out over great stories as we say. Bye, everybody.